Hey there, hello there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Cutter Top 10 video. And today we are going to be taking a good hard look at the Royal Rumble. I know this year it's controversial because it's in Saudi Arabia, and I will not be watching it because it's in Saudi Arabia. I mean, like it's all about blood money. So that's just my opinion. And WrestleMania next year is in Saudi Arabia, not 2026, but 2027. So yeah, WrestleMania will just not be the same. Regardless of that, we have ourselves some WrestleMania stuff, and we're going to be talking about the top 10 Royal Rumble moments of all time. No disrespect to the Ladies Rumble, but we didn't have a top 10. I mean, we've had some great moments. I mean, 2018, the first Women's Royal Rumble happened, which was great. Rhea Ripley's win, Bailey finally winning the Rumble last year. So, what can we do? So, let's take a look at the top 10 Royal Rumble moments of all time. Number 10 is Roman Reigns versus the WWE Universe 2015. Roman Reigns was this great guy from The Shield, a faction with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Reigns was pretty good. He was WWE champion for a time, but the fans rejected him for some strange reason. Why he was a babyface. He was a good guy, and they booed him and all that. Anyhow, Roman Reigns looked dominant. In the 2015 Royal Rumble in Philadelphia, he looked good, but the WWE Universe did not have any of it. Like 2014, the previous year, when Batista won the Royal Rumble, the fans booed him because he was not Daniel Bryan. So, anyhow, Batista won the Royal Rumble, and then the fans got nuts, forcing Daniel Bryan to be in the main event of the Royal Rumble. WrestleMania 30. Roman Reigns looked good. Daniel Bryan went early and then went out early, and the fans booed because they wanted Daniel Bryan to do well. Despite The Rock helping Roman defeat Big Show and Kane for the Royal Rumble, the fans wouldn't have it. They booed him, and The Rock looked perplexed with his eyebrow up in the air. Roman would not be the main guy there. Roman would face Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania for the title until Seth Rollins, who had the Money in the Bank contract, which he can cash in at any time, decided to pull off what they called the heist of the century, putting himself into the match, making it a triple threat, and him pinning Roman Reigns to steal the title. Roman would have problems. In late 2015, he did win the WWE title, but then Sheamus cashed in Money in the Bank. Roman speared Sheamus and seemingly won the title. Well, of course, he speared Vince McMahon too, and Triple H was being a dickwad as always with the authority. Stripped Roman of the title and made sure that 2016 the Royal Rumble would be who would be the number one contender. I mean, who would win the belt? Unfortunately, though, Triple H won and kind of usurped his way and all that, and all the fans were kissing his ass so much. I think Triple H should have checked his butt for diseases. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Number 9 is Kane at the 2001 Royal Rumble. The 2001 Royal Rumble was humongous and all of that because this was the last Rumble before WCW would be merged into WWE in a sense. Kane would be huge. The big red machine, the one with the mask, when he was masked Kane and not corporate Kane. He was amazing. He would eliminate 11 competitors, having the record for years until Roman Reigns broke it. It didn't matter what happened, but yeah, Kane was just amazing. All that he would eliminate Drew Carey, who somehow got his way into the Royal Rumble, and all that. He actually watched us both Jeff and Matt Hardy eliminate each other, and then the next guy for Drew Carey was Kane, and basically he had run away. So yeah, Kane took out 11 competitors. Unfortunately, though, Kane did not win the Royal Rumble. He lost to Stone Cold Steve Austin, who had done his third title, 97, 98, and 2001. Speaking of Stone Cold, number 8 is Stone Cold's victory in 1997. I know I could easily put Vince McMahon winning the Rumble in 1999, but that was kind of stupid because Vince did drop his title shot and all that. He didn't want to go for the WWE belt, but unfortunately, Shawn Michaels, who was commissioner at the time, forced him to face Stone Cold in a match. Anyhow, Stone Cold in 97 was kind of a bad guy. He was the ringmaster. He did win King of the Ring 1996, of course, when he said, Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass. and all that. So yeah, Stone Cold did that. In '97, he entered the Royal Rumble in San Antonio, which saw Shawn Michaels win the WWE belt from Psycho Sid. But then Austin was pretty good and all that. Unfortunately, though, near the end of the match, when Mankind and I can't remember who the second guy is bumped into each other, the referees were breaking up that brawl. Unfortunately, they didn't see Austin being dumped out of the ring by Bret Hart. So, because the refs didn't really see it, Stone Cold saw that and knew he could slide in under the ropes. And then he ended up beating Bret Hart for the WWE Royal Rumble Championship. Bret Hart would have been great winning the belt by himself, but yeah, Stone Cold would have the rivalry with Bret Hart, which accumulated. What am I thinking? In WrestleMania 13, which saw the double turn. Bret Hart turned from babyface to public enemy number one, especially in the U.S., and Stone Cold turning from a bad guy to a good guy trying to save America. So yeah, Stone Cold did all that. He won in '98, which I do love. Mankind and Cactus Jack getting the Rumble, all by Mick Foley's hand. Number 7 is Brock Lesnar going on a rampage. 2020. And no, this was not done under pandemic rules. That was 2021. But 2020 was in January, 2 months before the world changed for the better for most people and the worse for 10 people. Anyhow, Brock Lesnar would be entering at number 1. But Brock did something amazing. He took out 13 straight superstars, including the returning MVP. Unfortunately, though, Brock did not win the Rumble, as the next guy up was Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre delivered the Claymore as in a running kick. Brock flew over the ropes, and Drew McIntyre had eliminated Brock Lesnar. It was just unbelievable. McIntyre would win the 2020 Royal Rumble and win the WWE title, even though that it was at the Performance Center because of the COVID restrictions and all that shit. Number 6 is Bret Hart with Lex Luger in 1994. Controversial tie. You could also say 2005 with Batista and Cena being a tie. The '94 tie was big because Bret Hart and Lex Luger were both good guys. Luger was a bad guy, the narcissist, until he turned good guy. WWE kind of turned Luger good guy because they were trying to find a Hulk Hogan type of person after Hogan left the company. But yeah, Bret Hart was still pretty good and all that. Bret would have come into the match with a kayfabe ankle injury because of Owen Hart kicking his leg underneath his leg. So yeah, so Bret Hart was in the Rumble, Luger was in the Rumble. It was down to 2, and then basically they went right by the ropes, and all of a sudden, boom, he ended up crashing over. They both crashed over the turnbuckle. It was unclear who had it and all that. All the TV angles said it was too close to call. So the WWE decided to do something impressive, unprecedented. They decided to make both of them the winners of the Royal Rumble, and everyone was shocked because this was to determine who the guy was at WrestleMania. They couldn't figure it out, so the WWE made a move. They decided to do a coin flip between Bret Hart and Lex Luger to see who gets the last match. Bret won the coin flip, which meant that Lex Luger would have to fight Yokozuna for the WWE title first, and the winner of that one would face Bret Hart. In the meantime, the WWE decided to give Bret Hart a second match, the opening match with Bret's brother Owen. So Bret and Owen headlined WrestleMania, the first match, which was a classic, technical classic, which saw Owen beat Bret. But Bret would still have the WWE title shot. And it was Yokozuna who beat Lex Luger thanks to disqualification, as Lex Luger couldn't put his hands off Mr. Perfect, the guest referee. Now, of course, the rumors were circulating that Lex had celebrated his WWE Championship thing. He was told he was going to win and celebrated it and told some journalists. And that's when he got fucked over. But it was not really completely true. We also saw that, well, if Lex Luger had won the coin flip, Bret would have had to face Yoko first and then Luger there. Lex Luger would have been given a second match. He would have been facing Crush, apparently. Anyway, you got that. And you also had Batista and John Cena in 2005, but this one was actually kind of accidental, as they both went for their things. Batista went with Batista bomb, Cena stuck out of the way, and then they both went over the ropes violently. The SmackDown referee said Cena won because he was part of SmackDown. Batista was crowned the Raw guy. Vince McMahon angrily stormed the ring, and unfortunately, when he slid under the rope, he tore one of his quads. He couldn't stand up, and he barked orders, saying that the match had to be restarted, which saw Batista beat John Cena for the belt for the WWE Royal Rumble spot and to face Triple H at WrestleMania. Cena did go to WrestleMania for a title and faced JBL for the WWE belt, which Cena beat JBL, ending JBL's 9-month reign. Unfortunately, Vince would actually try to stand on his quad and tore the other one. Weird. Anyway, number 5 is Edge coming back 2020. Edge actually made 2 great returns. 2010, when he was injured, and Chris Jericho basically bragging about it. Edge entered at number 29 and speared Chris Jericho into oblivion, and then took out John Cena to win the belt, to win the WWE Royal Rumble. And we heard Matt Striker say, "On this day, I see clearly the ultimate opportunist doing it." However, that does not compare to what he did in 2020. Edge had to retire after WrestleMania in 2011 despite winning the belt because of neck problems. And then Edge shocked everyone, including yours truly, when he came in at, I think, number 21. And then Edge just came through, and the fans went bonkers because they didn't think Edge would be back to wrestling. It was a massive comeback. Edge did not win the Royal Rumble, but that's okay. He did much more than that. He came back to the WWE for a few years until he went to AEW. That scumbag. Number 4 is Rey Mysterio in 2006. It's a little controversial for the fact that, WWE was cash grabbing on Eddie Guerrero's death because, Rey and Eddie were close to each other. Not as close as Guerrero and Benoit. But the fact is that Rey Mysterio wanted to do so much and all that. He entered at number 2, which is like almost a death sentence. But throughout the 2006 Royal Rumble, he lasted 62 minutes and proved everyone wrong that he was not going to happen. But he did. Ray won. He flipped Randy Orton over the top and all that, and everyone was shocked. Orton was so pissed off, he forced a match with Rey Mysterio at No Way Out, in which he beat Mysterio, which meant RKO was going to WrestleMania to face Kurt Angle, who was the WWE Heavyweight Champion. However, Theodore Long added Mysterio to the title match, so it was a triple threat, and Mysterio ended up pinning Randy Orton for the belt, and he got to celebrate with the Guerreros and all that. Number 3 is the 1 foot save by Shawn Michaels. So anyhow, Shawn Michaels was a great wrestler. In the early 90s, he was full of trouble. Drug test issues, stripping of belts and all that. Yeah, Shawn Michaels was kind of out of control. But in 1995, at the Royal Rumble, in which they decided to have a wrestler come out every 60 seconds, not every 2 minutes, like normal, it was like huge and all that. HBK would face the British Bulldog, and the Bulldog seemingly took out Shawn Michaels by flinging him over the rope. And they played the British Bulldog's theme song. Unfortunately, though, Davey Boy Smith would not get the belt, the title shot, as Shawn Michaels came in under the ring and threw British Bulldog over the ropes. Everyone was shocked, including Vince McMahon and Jerry the King Lawler on commentary. However, as Harold Finkel explained it, Shawn Michaels did land with a foot down, but only 1 foot down. The rules were both feet had to touch the floor. So his 1 foot did hit the floor, but his other foot still hung in the air, meaning that because it didn't drop, he was still entitled for the shot. So that's what Shawn Michaels did. He ended up winning the Royal Rumble that way. And no, he did not win the title. He lost to Diesel, who was on a roll. Number 2 is John Cena's comeback in 2008 at the Royal Rumble. We've seen many people come back to the Royal Rumble from injury and all that. Triple H in 2002 comes to mind after missing the majority of the Monday Night War. I mean, the invasion angle with, WCW and ECW trying to destroy the WWF. Triple H was injured. He came back in January at Madison Square Garden. Everyone went nuts. And then a few months later, he won the Royal Rumble, and then he won the title match in Toronto at WrestleMania 18 against Mr. Jericho. Anywho, So, yeah, in 2008, John Cena was nowhere to be found in the Royal Rumble. In October 2007, in a match against Mr. Kennedy, he tore his pectoral muscle. He ended up having to be stripped of the WWE title, even though he had it for almost a year. So everyone was just like, who's going to replace him? Until 2008. It was a massive 2008 Royal Rumble. You had Roddy Piper and Superfly Snuka, kind of redacted in a sense, some people say, fighting each other at Madison Square Garden. You had Triple H in it. You had Mark Henry, Carlito, and all them. And then at number 30, John Cena's music hit, and the fans lost their mind. The commentary lost their minds. It's John Cena! John Cena! This is unbelievable. Oh my God. Triple H's expression told the whole story. The roof is coming off Madison Square Garden. As Taz, Joey Styles, Jerry the King Lawler, Michael Cole, and good old Jim Ross lost their minds. Cena shocked everyone by being number 30. And there was that one guy up the ramp, like, I guess, father's son. He looked like the son to the father who had an Eli Manning jersey on, but he looked like me back in 2008. The sharp hair and the glasses and all that. But yeah, John Cena came back. He shocked everyone by taking out Triple H last, and he was going to WrestleMania. He didn't win the title, but he proved everyone wrong that he couldn't come back from his pectoral before WrestleMania, and he did. Cena has been questioned on this. Everyone said that Cena's injury was actually a suspension for drug use, but I doubt that highly. And number one is the Big Royal Rumble from 1992, when Ric Flair won it. 1992 had a massive build-up to the Royal Rumble. In 1991, at the end of 91, at Survivor Series, Hulk Hogan shockingly lost the WWF title to The Undertaker. And then in a Tuesday primetime event called This Tuesday in Texas, he won it back from Undertaker using cheap tactics too. President Jack Tunney decided to strip the title and award it to the winner of the Royal Rumble. So 30 men had a chance to win the Royal Rumble. Ric Flair ended up drawing number 3. Him coming over from WCW with the World Heavyweight belt from WCW because Jim Herd was a prick. So anyway, Flair called himself the real world champion, and he was going to try to prove it. So at number 3, he had to fight it off over 60 minutes, and Bobby the Brain Heenan in the commentary booth saying, "This is not fair to Flair," and all that. Sell some bumper stickers on that. But anyhow, Flair shocked everyone by going through everything. He was down to the final 3 with Sid Justice and Hulk Hogan. Hulk seemed to have the momentum. He did win the past 2 Royal Rumbles, but this time it really counted. So what happened is Hulk got thrown out by Sid Justice cleanly, and Hulk got bitter and decided to pull Sid Justice out of the ring as revenge, realizing that he gave Ric Flair the Royal Rumble crown and the WWF title. Hulk Hogan was being kind of a prick to Sid Justice. They had their match at WrestleMania 8. And then backstage, Ric Flair said, with a tear in my eye, "This is the greatest moment of my life." And his 2 handlers, Bobby the Brain Heenan and an injured Mr. Perfect, basically said, "We're not the type of guys who say we told you so, but we told you so." I kind of like that line. Ric Flair would be the WWF champion until WrestleMania 8 when Randy Savage stripped him of the title. Unfortunately, though, everyone was going to have the Flair versus Hogan match, the big blow off, the WCW's Flair against WWF's Hulk Hogan. But it didn't happen. Apparently, some house shows were underwhelming, and they made the incredible controversial switch to switch Flair Hogan out of WrestleMania 8 for Flair versus Savage and Hulk versus Sid. It would technically be Hulk Hogan's retirement match, but that didn't last too long. So yeah, that was just amazing. And the WWF declared after 1992 that every Royal Rumble, the winner will get a title shot at WrestleMania. So meaning that the Royal Rumble stands for something, and hopefully it stands for something. Whoever wins the men's and women's Royal Rumble today. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond, a Duke.